Hello everyone and welcome to this 12th coding challenge video. This one is going to be sort of figuring out something that I've always struggled with in normal math and using programming to solve it, and that is long division. Now everyone has weaknesses in programming or math, and this is one of them for me. So I'm going to program a easy to use script that will hopefully just allow me to use two numbers and then long divide them and work out each of the individual decimals by hand. Before we get started, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel. And down in the description, you can check out the code for this, which I will be uploading afterwards in the description down below. Follow us there on GitHub for coding updates and on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come and join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, expressions, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so by becoming a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP. Link for that is in the description. And also in the description, check out the links to AE Scripts, Gumroad, and the Adobe Exchange to check out some other tools and products that I create. So I'm going to try and make this a quicker coding challenge, but we're going to be illustrating how to take a concept or something that you need help with and turning it into code. So I did some revision, just relearning how to do long division before this. And let's go ahead and pick a thick brush. And let's say first we need our terminology, right? This is long division format. And this is the same thing as saying 20 divided by 5. It's not 5 divided by 20. That would be the opposite, where we have the larger number on the outside and the smaller on the inside. So based on this, we can start off by kind of knowing how our variables are going to need to be set up. We have something on the outside and something on the inside. That's equal to, obviously here, the numerator and denominator. So the numerator is on the inside. We can say that's n. And the denominator is on the outside. That's the bottom. So let's first go ahead and do some programming involving that. We'll just say we'll have a numerator variable, and let's just start with this example. So n is going to be equal to 20. These will be things maybe the user will set up and then just run the code to get it. So then we'll have the denominator, and we'll set that to 5, right? So after that, we can now go through and kind of figure out the process. So we can just create a function, which is the same thing as saying process, and let's call it long divide. And we'll have our numerator and denominator. Pretty straightforward. And I'm going to abbreviate them here as n and d. And then when I call the function here, long divide, what do I want to long divide? The numerator by the denominator. Okay, let's make sure those are spelled the same. And I'm also going to right line this because I want to return what ends up being our value. So let's go ahead and now work out the actual math here. Let's do our first example where we have a larger numerator, which is our kind of easier examples. And what we first do is we check how many times. So we need a step here, a step process. First, we take our numerator, our denominator, and ask how many times does the denominator go into the numerator. Let's create a variable called result. And let's just say is equal to d divided by n. So let's say we take that exact calculation, 5 divided by 20. Actually, it's the opposite, right? It needs to be numerator divided by denominator. So how many times does 5 go into 20? That would be 4 times. So we would then say 4. So let's have this will be our temp, so we're going to manipulate that. Let's have an actual result string. And if temp is greater than, temp needs to be floored or rounded, I think. Yeah, it should be floor. Math.floor. We need to round it down. We don't want to round up in any case. In case if we say like this was 21, 5 goes into 21 4 times, but there's going to be a decimal return. So we just want the integer for this temp, and then we will say result string is going to start by equaling our temp, which is the first time through here is 4. Then I think we can add a decimal. I'm probably doing this in an inefficient way, but hopefully this will work. If we were to just go ahead and return our result string, we can start testing this. Right now we have 4 point. Now the next step is to take that 4 and multiply it by the original number. So let's create another variable for any item we kind of have in this area here, which we're going to multiply and subtract. Let's just call this the subtractor, and this is going to be equal to temp times d. And then that's going to be the 20, which goes below here. We're going to subtract those. Which equals 0. Temp result is equal to, in this case, it's our numerator to minus the subtractor. So in this case, it gets 0. Let's try a different case where we have 5 into 21. It's going to be 4. Then our subtractor is going to still be 20, but our temp result here is going to be 1, which is right here. Then we say 5 times 1 equal to 5. I believe, or do we need to bring down a 2? Let's check the actual value. Should be a 2. So that means this needs to end up being 10. For temp result, I'm going to do something silly here, but I'm going to convert this result here to a string and then add the 0. Then I'm going to parse this entire thing as an int. As you can see, that gives me 10, which is now the subtractor value. See, I'm just not good at this type of math, which is why it's so tricky. Then we have our temp will be it will be how many times d goes into temp result, right? And then we'll say result string plus equals temp. So now we get 4.2. Now the issue is we need like a do while loop while let's see. these variables need to be defined up here. So we're going to be reusing them. So I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to do it. Like I need to do this process while temp result does not equal 0. How do you get decimals like 4.05, right? Let's see. That's just going to be an infinite loop, isn't it? Subtractor is equal to temp. Times d, which is that. Man, this is some tricky stuff, and it should be so simple, but this is the challenge of trying to program things that you're not good at sort of in person. So we want to do this process until what we subtract down here is 0, I believe. Let's just create a counter. We'll say counter plus plus. And then we'll put a limit here. While counter is less than 1,000,000, maybe. And what we're going to say is n minus subtract. N is then going to become this guy, which we're adding to. So then we say that's the next one. Which we then will say n minus our next subtractor. Temp d times d. Instead of that, it needs to be temp, I think. We need to comment this out, otherwise we're going to get lost in the code here. Okay, so this, we're saying get first value. That's adding to the string. Adding first value to output string. Then here, subtractor is first term to subtract from the numerator. And don't need to necessarily do this again, I don't think. We need to do this afterward. Loop until subtracted value is 0, I believe is what we should try. So the first time through, we're going to say n 20 minus the subtractor 20, or we can say 21 minus 20, and that's equal to, let me say, if 0 x is equal to some giant number. I think in this case it was not, so I'm going to work through this. N in this case is equal to 20 minus our subtractor. Sorry, 21 minus our subtractor of 20. Let's do this case first, right? We divide straight into there. Temp is equal to math.for n divided by d. That's this guy here. We add that, so we have 4 dot subtractor. The first time through is temp, that value there, 4 times d 520. I'm saying x here. I'm silly. All right, so there's 4.0. Now we can try up to there. 4.20. Is that working? Let's try some more values. I have more 23 divided by 5, 29 divided by 5, 131 divided by 5. Okay, we need to try something different. 29 divided by 3. And we need to actually not say a million, because this goes on forever. Let's say 100. Okay, this is working. I think it's working. Let's try some different values, like the opposite, which would be 3 divided by 29. Why are we getting 2 outputs here? Is that continued on? What is that? Why am I getting 2 things written here? It has a dash, and then it displays it again. Interesting. So what is the case when this needs to be a dot after the first value? Is I think if temp is less than 1, then we don't, and then otherwise we do. Let's try that. Are we getting a different value now? Let's see what temp is. Temp is 0, so that's less than 1, so result string is just going to be that. Oh, well then yeah, there's going to be 0 dot 3 divided by 27. It's in the wrong position. It is ending up adding 1, but where? confused about the positioning of these decimals. A there. Temp is equal to N divided by D. In the case of that, because you 0.1111, so it would be 0. It's saying it to be 0. Okay, so right now this is working fine for normal division, right? 27 divided by 3, it's 9. We get 9. 101 divided by 4. It gives us 25.2.5. We need to figure out where these extra dots are coming from. I think there are values not being properly clamped. Maybe this needs to be math.floored. That's roughly correct, 25.20. Let's try something else like 251 divided by 3. 83.60. So in this case, it's kind of missing that. What if we round? 70. So if we don't mess with this at all, we get the value, but we need just the decimal. So to do that, we would say math.floor this minus minus the value itself. And a little bit messy there. We need to floor this whole value, I think. Okay, let's undo that. So that is roughly accurate. There are a few bugs in here that I can't quite figure out in like the nick of time right now. I would need to reanalyze the code a bit to get it to work properly. In case it's 1. See, there's just these slight mathematical bugs that are missing. I think it has to do with the decimal places. But I'm actually going to call that good because I've gotten the basic concept down with the while loop and these terms. I'm going to change it up a little bit and make the terms more reliable and easily readable. But if you guys want to check this out, improve it a little bit, you'll probably see me posting some updates on this as well. And it can kind of be like a community contribution thing, or you can check out the updates I make as I improve the names of these variables and figure out what's wrong with the decimal places, and maybe that will make it more noticeable. I have done a thing like this in C++ before, but JavaScript is a little bit different. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button. Down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice a week from the channel. And down in the description, you can check out the code for this in the GitHub link. Follow us there for coding updates, and in the description, follow us on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come and join to help us scripting, extensions, plugins, expressions, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so by becoming a channel member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP, which comes with cool perks and helps support us financially. And also in the description, check out the links to Adobe Exchange, Gumroad, and Ascripts to check out some of the other tools that I created. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As I didn't completely finish this, I mainly wanted to do a concept to basic working prototype of something that I am currently unfamiliar with and have had struggles with over time. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.